Welcome to the SaaS AdLab podcast, where we bring to you the stories of SaaS founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs. My name is Luis. I'm the founder of Fantom Agency, a digital marketing agency specializing in scaling SaaS companies just like Netmera. And thank you so much for being on here today. It's a pleasure having you. And Kaan, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about, yourself, what you've been doing, and what it's like to be the co-founder and CEO of a successful company?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. And so I'm actually worked in IT industry, in software industry, more than 20 years now.
Wow.
I started my career in a large company
Mm-hmm.
in Istanbul, actually, in Turkey, and I worked there nearly 10, 12 years. And I gained some experience from development to sales, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then entrepreneurial bug bite me, and I moved on the entrepreneurial side, and I co-founded our company.
Yeah.
With one of my friends in the company, actually, the company I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
We started developing solutions for telecom industry first. And we gained some experience in the development side, and we gained some traction in the markets. And especially we are working in the EMEA area, that is Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Uh-huh.
Later on, we started to develop Netmera, because at that time it's around seven years ago, yeah. And mobile revolution has been just started there.
Yeah.
iPhone, etc., Android, and people started to use those devices, and we focused on the new area that the mobile apps are bringing.
Mm-hmm.
We developed a mobile engagement platform, that is, we analyze the user behavior inside the applications. That's
Right.
what they do, what they don't do, in which frequency they do it, etc. And then you can target them accordingly, and you can send them push notifications, SMS, rich push notifications, pop-ups, etc. And it became a success in our region, actually, in EMEA region, and we have customers like Vodafone, Starbucks in the region.
Yeah, some big customers.
Yeah, Lacoste from Europe, etc. And we have more than 150 million app users on our platform now. And we are collecting data about their behavior, and we are sending out targeted notifications.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a lot of really cool stuff. How long has Netmera been around for? When did you first found the company?
Well, we founded our company in 2008. It's now more than 10 years and 11 years now. As I said, we first started to develop projects for large, mostly telecom companies like Vodafone. It was not a product company at that moment. It's more a software development company. We started like that. But however, we moved to the product side quickly. In 2013, yes, we launched the first version of Netmera. Mm-hmm. Which is quite different from the current version, actually. So we pivoted to find the right product market fit, actually. We did several pivots, and then we figured out where the market is, mm-hmm. what we can do, and what we can offer. Mm-hmm. And after 2015, 2015, it became a very proven product in the market, and the last 4 years it's rapidly growing in the 65% per year annual growth.
Wow, that's huge. That's awesome. When we first started the show, you mentioned that you were bit by the entrepreneurial bug, right? But what does that mean, right? Like I obviously I feel like we know what it means, but really, did you have any entrepreneur experience prior to starting Netmera? Is this your first company, and was anyone around you an entrepreneur that kind of influenced that, or do you think it was just you just knew that you wanted to start something?
Yeah, good question, actually. Well, my family is not an entrepreneur family, actually. So not coming from my family. Probably I'm the first that built his own company. Well, it's a bit hard decision. That's why I'm not a young entrepreneur, actually, because I had more than 10 years of experience in the enterprise IT large companies.
It's still difficult though, right? I mean, with all the experience, building a company it's not an easy task.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, so because the longer you work in a company or in an enterprise settings,
Mm-hmm.
you become more comfortable in that area, so you don't move very rapidly.
Right.
So it's not a very easy decision. The entrepreneurial bug is coming from, well, this is something I wanted to do all the time while I work first. Secondly, my partner actually, my co-founder, moved to entrepreneurial side earlier than me, and he got some experience in that side. And I saw him what he's doing, and also well, it's not a bad career actually, rather than working in a large company.
Right.
And finally, my wife supported me very much.
Good.
Because I told her, and she supported me. Okay, if you want to
That's
do
great.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, you know, it's something, and we'll talk a little bit more about the personal, you know, aspect of growing and owning a business later into the show. But I think it's definitely like a good support system is always going to be important, because there's going to be nights and days when you just sit down and you're working, you know, the entire time. So it's definitely something that has to be there, you know, whether it's a significant other or even if it's friends that are, you know, like-minded that you can talk to and bounce ideas off of and stuff like that. It's super important, I think. But to talk a little bit more about the product, right? You mentioned that you pivoted quite a few times. What were the reasons for those pivots? Like, was it because you were creating something that essentially you noticed that there was no product market fit, or was the entire market going in a different direction? Obviously, like, you're working alongside, you know, applications. So if applications make a big, you know, a big shift, that means you also have to make a big shift.
Yeah. There were several pivots there. One of the reasons, or the first one, actually, we didn't start with the mobile applications in the first place.
Right.
We started with the websites actually, and we tried to develop some sort of a development platform, something like that. That we quickly realized that there is no competitive advantage what we are producing there, actually, because the web is already, I mean, mature area.
Yeah.
There were many products there, many types of flavors there, and many tools. We figured out that we won't be able to be a competitive, viable alternative to the in the first place. And then at that time, the mobile applications were gaining traction, and so we moved to that area. But the first thing we tried is, again, a development types of. Well, we developed a backend as a service in the first place.
Okay.
In the first iteration, let's call it. And actually, we did some traction. We got some traction. We registered nearly 2,000 developers on our platform at that time. However, the monetization was not so good. Developers didn't pay, but they used. But
right.
And then that's why we moved to the large brands like yourselves, and then they didn't demand the developer products or development tools, but they requested more of engagement, retention, and marketing products from us, because they didn't have much problems with developing their applications, with their resources, of course, but they were having problems in retaining their app users, etc.
Right, just getting people to use the app over and over again, essentially.
Because people are downloading the apps, but they are not. They don't use it very long time, and they just. And so we solved this problem, and when we really solved this problem, the product market fit comes, and then everything starts working.
Nice. So do you believe, this is interesting, do you believe that if you build it, they will come?
No, not really.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of people that think so, right? Like, if you build something, like if you build a Cybertruck, then people are going to come and buy it, which may be, you know, I guess it makes sense, but only people know that there's a Cybertruck out there.
Well, if you can build something like Cybertruck, probably they come, but
Yeah, you still have to put it
you're
in
not
front of people.
you're not usually build something like Cybertruck. You usually build a small incremental, a better version of something already. If
Totally.
you do something revolutionary, then yeah, probably the word of mouth is
Right.
enough to bring you enough customers. But usually, I mean, you're not that talented or you're not that lucky to do something like that. So your product is something that is at least similar to others, or at least solving a niche problem initially. So you need to work hard in marketing, or you need to work hard with the customers, etc.
Right.
Or at least for me, I mean, my journey is not okay. I built something, people come all over the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, overall, I think it's usually the similar case for almost everybody. You have something, but you still have to make sure that people know that it exists. Otherwise, there's no really way. There's no way for them to find out. But that brings me to the next question, which was: so you pivoted a couple of times, and now you're finally at the point in time where you're at now. What are the tactics, the processes to get in front of the perfect customer? Right? It seems like as of now, the people that you're going after are bigger companies, right? Enterprise level, contracts or agreements, whatever it is that you do. How do you get in contact with those companies? Are you doing how does the customer acquisition, process look like?
Mm. Yeah, as I mentioned, we didn't start with the large company targets. I mean, our product was for more developers in the finance, which is actually quite individuals actually. But as I said, the monetization problems forced us to focus on a different market just because to make money. I mean, in order to be sustainable,
Right.
we need to get money because we're not we bootstrapped actually. That's the thing. If we get some external investment, maybe the things would be different. Since we bootstrapped, we need to get to the money first, the fast.
Right.
That's why we focused on the large customers, because that's where the money is, and that was the key thing. It's something we needed to do. The way we approach them is to first with a direct sales force. Since that and that front, I think our backgrounds or experience in enterprise IT helped us, because we developed a network of companies during our professional careers.
Right.
We leveraged that connections.
So okay.
Yeah, initially we get customers that we know them, because we did business in the past, and so they believed us. Probably they didn't believe our product, but they believed us.
Right, they believed in you because they already knew you, and etc.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then the product was good and was really helping them, and they started to tell other peoples, which are also their peers in the other companies in their sectors. And then we get more people and we get more customers.
Aside from that's really good, because I've heard of a lot of different people on the podcast that have similar strategies, right? They knew people, they contacted them, which is almost, it kind of makes you think that, everything happens for a reason, and things happen whenever it's like the right time to do so. If you didn't meet somebody, something may not have happened, and so on. But the next question is, aside from, connections and word of mouth, like let's say you run out of people to contact, right, inside of your contact list, how would you then go and put yourself in front of the next enterprise company?
Yeah, we of course we do marketing. There's marketing, and we mostly focus on content marketing, and we develop content for the respective industries we working in. For example, for e-commerce companies, mobile commerce companies, We do tell them how to leverage mobile channel, mobile apps, and what kind of marketing tactics they can employ.
Mm-hmm.
And then we position our product with respect to this information or this content. So content marketing is what we prefer. And also we are participating or sponsoring industry events in the nearby community, fairs, exhibitions, or conferences.
Mm-hmm.
We do sponsor them actually, and sometimes we present our solutions in those.
That's cool. Makes sense. That's awesome. What is the biggest obstacle that you run into when, say, like with the content, right? Are you trying to explain how to do certain things or how to achieve certain results? Obviously, through your solution, or what is, like, how are you approaching content marketing? Is it mainly to educate the prospects?
Well, actually, it's been 4 or 5 years now that this product is on out market. It changed actually in the beginning in 2013-14. We mostly telling them about how mobile apps are important in their marketing mix, etc. So we were trying to educate market on mobile basically. But in 2016-17, we started to talk about how they can engage with their users, retain with their users, etc. And now we are working. I mean, everybody knows mobile apps. Everybody knows mobile engagement, retention. There are other tools, etc. We are mostly telling them about our differentiators, etc. So mostly product marketing. But it changed really. It changed during the course of the years.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep changing, right? Where do you see mobile applications going in the next 5-10 years?
Oh, good question.
Because so this is a great question, right? Because earlier you told me you're collecting just millions of data points pretty much on a daily basis from all the interactions and behaviors that people are doing inside of applications. How do you leverage that data, right, to make decisions on, first, where are the apps gonna go and where is Netmera gonna go with that same trend that's happening?
Well, apps are definitely as part of people's daily lives now, so they are not going away. I believe. Even if there are alternative scenarios with chatbots at some of the things, I don't think the application ecosystem will change fundamentally in the next 5 years. I think there is going to be apps. We will play with them. We will use them, etc. They're going to be there. However, there are two driving forces, I think, now. The tools, actually, or the way the providers like us are driven by two important trends, I guess. One of them is actually privacy. Especially in Europe, there is GDPR, the data privacy law, which is important. So you should be very careful, like brands. Actually, the providers like us should be very careful about what data we are collecting, what we are doing with this data, what we are doing with the personal information. And I believe this trend will also arrive in US.
Yeah, I think so too.
So the way you handle people's data is important. So we're developing such tools because we're making sure that the data is always private. Secure, and the second one is, of course, the AI, because there are lots of data, and up to now, actually, the products, even including Netmera and the other competitors, mostly depending on the marketers or the users at the brands that give meaning to this data, use it, and then drive conclusions from this. But now it's becoming more automated via AI. And so we're doing some sort of things like the intelligent segmentation that actually our machine learning algorithms are segmenting users without any user interface.
That's awesome.
Well, that's also a trend in the marketing world, MarTech. and
Yeah.
also expand in the application. So we will see more AI or machine learning algorithms working autonomously and giving information to the users.
Cool. I love it. I love it. Has there ever been a time where, with all this like breach of privacy and data leaks and stuff like that, has there ever been a time where you almost didn't work with a company because the risk of something like that was bigger than, like an e-commerce company per se? Let's say that a bank came to you and they said, we want this for our company. Has there ever been a time like that where you said we don't want to work with anyone in the banking industry for just security purposes, where we don't want to handle that type of data because something could happen?
No, well, we seriously consider this risk. However, I believe we put necessary effort and systems and investment for security of our systems. We are working with large brands like banks like ING Bank from Holland or Vodafone, like from telecom industry. So we have necessary systems and investments. So I think we are fully confident that we can store securely their data, and we are good enough to protect this data. So we don't think we shouldn't work with them. But however, especially in banks, we are super careful to put these, not only the technology, because there are also, because in the end, people are using this. So there's going to always a trust issue between. So we are super selective in this industry, especially in banking industry.
Nice. That's really good to hear. And a couple more questions here before we dive into the more personal side of things. But in your experience, what's been the most challenging thing as you've grown the company?
Most challenging thing?
Yeah, everything.
While developing the company?
Yeah.
Oh, well, many things, I would say.
Yeah.
But actually, especially in the growth stage, hiring or people, because it's always very hard to find good people. It's always very hard to find good people that fits into your culture. So that's I think the hardest part. And also, all around the world, in any place, the technical people are on demand. Developers are on demand, so it's always hard to find good developers. It's always hard to find good people.
What's your number one challenge right now as an entire, company, essentially?
Expanding into different territories. It's our aim now. Of course, we are working in the region, in Europe, Middle East, and in Turkey, here. But we want to expand into more regions and want to become an international company, a truly international company. And it's a challenge, really challenge, because it's not very easy, especially in the enterprise setting, enterprise sales. It's easy to reach out to foreign companies in a foreign country and them to use your solution and keeping their competition there, etc. So it's a challenge, and we're working on it.
Nice, very good. And now to talk a little bit more about the personal aspect of running a business. From how do you? And I feel like this is typically how do you say this? Like a question where I feel like the answer typically tends to be the same. But I'm interested to see, like, because it's younger companies, right? Like maybe like 5 years or something, but you've been around, I think, for almost 10 years? Yeah. What is the biggest thing that you notice to, increase productivity as you're building the company?
You mean personal productivity?
Yeah.
The types of things you do during the course of your company change all the time. I mean, when we first started, you are like you're doing everything you can. I mean,
Right.
yeah. So my marketing, it's yourself. It's sales yourself. Paying the bills, it's yourself, etc. Developing, it's yourself. So it's always the very few people, co-founders, and very few people using. So there, the productivity is not the first priority, but the versatility or anything you can do is important. So that's the skill you need there at that
Right.
stage.
Gotcha.
You need to be very versatile at that stage. While you grow, the hiring part and also training or coaching part becomes important because you need to infuse the culture and the
Yeah.
way you do with other people, because you start hiring other people, and you're not probably working so close as compared to your first days.
Yeah.
So and that front, your mentorship skills are important, etc. I think the final, the scale-up stage requires a significant amount of productivity from yourself and your team,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a large team now, so I need to be very careful about how I spend my time
Mm-hmm.
and during while managing my team. So I spent significant amount of time to think where to spend my time, I think.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm trying to plan my time very carefully so that only important things get done.
Mm-hmm. Great. Great. I like it. What is something that you're not very good at?
Mm, mm, mm. Well, many things again. Well, I'm actually not a very good product person, really,
Mm.
but admitting it was very hard,
Yeah.
because uh, those pivots actually mostly because of me,
Yeah.
because I didn't aim the right market. I couldn't design the product very good at the beginning, but I was good at listening to people, so I could switch it up. But
Yeah.
mostly now I leave the product management aspects to my team, so
Mhm.
and they're doing it better than me.
Mhm. Great. And one last question here, and we'll start wrapping up. If you had, if you could go back to day one now, with everything that you've learned throughout these 10 years, what would you tell yourself to do differently?
Mm. Well, I believe from a business perspective, I believe, because many people at that time told me so, because I have friends from US.
Hmm.
uh, they told me that, hey, why don't you bring your product here? So I think I would try it at that time, bring
Yeah.
it to US, because our competitors from US is, I mean, growing even more rapidly,
Hmm.
because there is a very good market there. And there was, even at that time, well, while Europe is just starting these things, there was a huge market in the US. So I would do it in the US, first thing.
Hmm.
From a personal point of view, what I would do differently, well, I would spend more time with customers at initial stages, so
Hmm.
that I would do a better product in less time.
Yeah. Great. And where can people find you online, Kaan?
Pardon?
Where can people find you online if they want to ask any questions or follow you, maybe on Twitter,
Oh yeah,
LinkedIn?
uh, LinkedIn. I think I personally use LinkedIn very much, and they can reach me there. I have a open connection policy, so if they request a connection, probably I will accept, and they
There
can
you go.
just send questions there. I'm there, Kaan Bingol.
Great. Awesome. And last question here. Do you have any questions for me, Kaan?
I enjoyed talking to you
Yeah.
first. It's a great show, and looking forward to seeing you on screen.
Sounds good. I'll shoot over all the details and everything after once it's ready to publish. But thank you so much for being on here today. It's a pleasure having you, and I really enjoy talking and learning a little bit more about Netmera and what you guys are doing. And I'm excited to see what you guys come up with next. And for anyone that's watching this show, please don't forget to like it, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or whatever streaming platform you're on. But thank you everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye.